Willem Dafoe is the best grizzled sailor since Phil Hartman's Captain Carl.
How long have we been on this rock? 5 weeks? 2 days? Help me to recollect.
I be Lindsay, and here be me review of the Lighthouse. Ye dogs. The Lighthouse. The second full-length feature directed by Robert Eggers. His first film was The Witch, which I absolutely loved. One of the best films of the past 10 years in my opinion, and a pretty strong sophomore effort. The basic storyline is two men, played by Two men, played by Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, are dropped on a rock with a lighthouse for 4 weeks. They're there as caretakers. They call them wickies. And weird stuff happens. Maybe. The first things that stick out about this film is, of course, it is all in black and white. It's what's called an orthochromatic film, and also the aspect ratio. It is 1.19 by 1, which is almost a perfect square. And the reason for this black and white color scheme and the aspect ratio and some of the filming techniques that were used is because this is geared towards the style of turn-of-the-century films. And I'm not talking about 20th century into 21st century, I'm talking about 19th century into 20th century. So like 1890 period. This film is partially based on the Smalls Lighthouse tragedy, where two men were stranded because of a storm while they were taking care of this lighthouse, and they disappeared. And no one knows what really happened to them. Where the witch, which some call the Vivitch, is stylized as American folklore. I would say this film is more Greek mythology.
Daddy! Let Neptune strike ye dead, Winslow!
We've got mermaids, we've got octopus, we've got Zeus and storms and the sea, and superstitions about seagulls. This movie takes a lot of inspiration from Greek mythology, but also the works of Herman Melville, amongst other writers of that time. The director was very specific about the dialogue used, and also the overall look of the film with the lighting and the specific shot setups. I mean, they look like they're taken right out of a film from that time period. There's one that sticks out in my mind where Robert Pattinson is crawling out of the foghorn. It looks like it's ripped straight out of a film from the late 1800s. And it's just gorgeous to look at. And they use a lot of digital and practical effects. They use matte paintings and all this other stuff. And it's just a really gorgeous film. The setting and the aspect ratio also lend a lot towards isolation and claustrophobia and just being cramped and trapped in a small space. The acting is phenomenal. Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson have two very different acting styles. Robert Pattinson is much more method. He likes to just get on set and kind of let it out from there. Whereas Willem Dafoe, he is a more classically trained actor with a lot of stage experience, so he's fine with doing rehearsals and things like that, which the director had them do beforehand. And so you can really see the tension between them not only comes from their characterization, but also in those styles hitting head on. And they're both amazing. I think Willem Dafoe just fucking hit it out of the park with this performance. Robert Pattinson is very good. It's a shame that a lot of people only associate him with, hey, he's that guy from Twilight. No, he's a very good actor, and given the right vehicle to showcase that, he just shines. He doesn't sparkle, he shines. So those are my overall general thoughts on the film. I really liked it. I highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. So now I'm going to talk about spoilers and about more of the specific elements of the film that I don't want to ruin for anybody. So if you have not seen the film, skip to this time code. All right, spoiler time. One thing I really want to talk about is 2 words. Mermaid puss. I don't know why I'm focusing on that small element of the film. I mean, it's part of some of the overall themes of masculinity that are referenced in this film. There's a lot of masculine imagery, a lot of phallic imagery, things like that. But if you look back at the original design of the mermaid, it's got the split tail like you see on the Starbucks logo. But during the Victorian era, they put those 2 together because they were all such tight asses. So, so this is Robert Eggers' version of what a mermaid vagina would look like. And it's big and floppy. And it just made me laugh. And I bet it smells terrible. But I just wanted to talk about the mermaid puss for a second there to get that out of the way. But there's a lot of sexual imagery in this film, dealing with sexual frustration, and also the male mind during isolation and what it does to cope with that. This film has a lot of images to unpack and try to figure out, because going through what is presented to us, you have no idea what is real and what is fake, because one character thinks one thing is happening and another character is telling you, no, that didn't happen. So who do you believe? And what is reality in this universe? Who knows? Big questions.
Went mad, he did.
Tall tales.
One thing I really liked, and I kind of touched on this before with the whole Greek mythology thing, is towards the end it kind of evolves into the story of Prometheus, where in Greek mythology Prometheus steals the fire to give to mankind, and Zeus punishes him by, I think he's chained to a cliff, and every day an eagle comes and eats out his intestines, and overnight they regrow. So the next day the eagle come back and eat out his intestines again. And in this film we get that final shot of Robert Pattinson laying there on the rocky shore with the seagulls eating his intestines out. And of course the light in the lighthouse is the symbol for that fire that he stole. So he was being punished for that, and also his past deeds that he confesses throughout the film. Another thing I like about this film is it delves into those universal themes such as man versus man, man versus nature, and man versus God, and man versus self. Because of course they're battling each other for control, and the fact that they're 2 very different people from very different backgrounds, and neither one of them trust each other. And also man versus nature, they're on this rock in these hellacious weather conditions, and the storm and seas are just exploding all around them. And this film starts off kind of slow, but there's this underlying frenzy that throughout the progression of the film just comes spewing out.
What?
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 And we have man versus God, because all of the Greek mythology symbolism, and also atoning for one's sins, because he confesses that he murdered this former boss coworker when he was doing logging as a previous job. And man versus self, he's questioning, what is reality? What is going on? Am I crazy? What have I done? Seriously, Willem Dafoe's performance kept reminding me of Captain Carl.
Now, Pee-wee, there's 2 things missing from this drawing. 2 things a sailor always looks for on a mermaid.
I know. Are they round?
Sometimes.
I know. Earrings.
No, Pee-wee. A belly button and a watch.
especially when he'd go into his long soliloquies. But God, he was so good. That scene of him getting buried was amazing. To still have that power and presence as dirt is being thrown on you, it's just amazing. So, good job, Willem Dafoe. You fucking knocked it out of the fucking park. And there's a lot of farts. Farts and pissing. Farts and pissing and drinking and mermaid puss. Well, that's going to do it for this review. This is Lindsay signing off. I'll check you later.
What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor?